Welcome, everybody. I'd like to introduce to you Sierra Maestas. She comes from a family of people that I grew up with my entire life and I've known forever. Just a sweetheart, and I'm excited to do this interview with her today. So tell us a little bit more about yourself, Sierra.
My name is Sierra Maestas. I am from Chama, Colorado. My grandmother is Libby Rivera and my grandfather was Celedon Rivera. My mom is Leslie Maestas, would be her maiden name. So we grew up in Costilla County. I'm from the San Luis Valley. I've never left. I grew up here, graduated from Alamosa High School 2007. Went to Adams State for a while and got my degrees from University of Phoenix.
So tell me about your degrees. What are your degrees in?
So I have a paralegal certificate. I have a bachelor's of science in criminal justice. I have a master's of science in justice and security. And I am also a certified state caseworker for the state of Colorado.
Nice. So tell me about your journey through all of that. What was it like to go through that process?
I would say at first it was really difficult because I graduated high school and in my head I just knew I had to get a degree and that my grandma would be extremely disappointed if I didn't go to school. So it was kind of forced, like I have to go to school, but what do I want to go to school for? So I went to school, started off as a business major, and I just thought, well, I'll just pick something simple. I don't even know what I want to do. My first 4 semesters of college, I don't know how I got through college, but I did, failing every single class. Because I just was like, I just wanted to be in college and have fun. And then eventually, I think when I got serious about it, then I knew what I wanted to do and I changed my major. Okay. Then I got like A's and B's.
So what was the change? What made you decide to get serious?
I guess the change was that, I don't know, I guess it's a life lesson. I had gotten into trouble a little bit. In my head, I thought that the criminal justice system was built and created so that everything could be so equal, that there was this equality and everything's fair, and that's just what you're taught. So that's what I thought. I kind of navigated through all that. I kind of noticed that it wasn't fair and it's not very, it's very gray. It's not made for every situation. And so, I don't know, I think because things didn't go the way I expected them to go and yeah, it was a bad situation that turned into a good situation, because if it wouldn't have happened, I would have never changed my major. And that's when I changed schools, and I thought, well, I one day want to go to law school because I want to change the system, because this and this and this wasn't done for me and it wasn't fair, and I don't want that to happen to anybody else.
Well, I mean, I'm proud of you that you've gotten your bachelor's degree and your master's degree, your paralegal certificate. I know that had to take a lot of time and just a lot of effort to go through all of that. And so I'm wondering, like, tell me, you talked a little bit about an obstacle. What were some words of encouragement or inspiration that you kind of fell back on when you were going through all of that stuff?
I think just my faith in God, knowing that I could get through anything, and that's something my grandma always taught me, was that I was resilient and I was strong and I could get through anything life throws at me. And thank God that she taught me to have a lot of faith and was always so encouraging. And I just had all that support from my grandmother, even though she didn't know she was providing all that support at that time. And I had support with like Tucasa, all the organizations I was working with that were helping me. which is kind of crazy because 10 years later or whatever, 9 years later, I work with them now, but in a whole different way, you know. As a caseworker now, I'm referring people to the same type of services that were provided for me at that time, and it's kind of crazy. And
wow, so it kind of came full circle then.
Yeah.
That's cool. And your grandma, I just have to say, I love her, and I've remembered her since I was in Head Start, and she worked with us in preschool. And she's always been a powerful, strong woman with this amazing presence. And so, yeah, she's one of those people that I think influenced a lot of people back home growing up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she's an amazing lady, and I can imagine her telling you, to be resilient and that you're strong, because that's the kind of person she is too. So that's really cool that you say that about her. So can you tell me about a shining moment or an accomplishment?
I would say getting my master's. I remember on that day, it was really small. I just had my mom, my sister, my brother. My grandpa came from Chicago. My grandma was there, my other grandma, my aunt, and my cousins from Wyoming. And so my aunt's daughter, her name is Natalie. She's my god sister. She is a head pharmacist for the VA hospital in Wyoming, and I just look up to her because she's so, not only is she a beautiful person, but she's just so smart. And to get through all that schooling and never have had to pay any money because you were so smart and you got so many scholarships, and she's just so ambitious and so, I don't know, she's just such a beautiful person. I remember being at my graduation and being done, and she was like, what do you want to do after this? And I thought, dang, I didn't even have a party or invite anybody, and she was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, we could go out to eat. And she's like, are you sure you didn't want to have a party? Or she asked me something like that, and I was like, no, I'm not done with school. And she was like, what? And I was like, I can't have a party, I'm not done. And most people, don't they just get a master's anyways? Because in my head, I just thought most people get a master's. And she was like, no, Sierra, that's actually a really huge accomplishment. And she, just by her, she's constantly telling me that she's so proud of me. And I don't know, that means the world to me.
Awesome. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your master's and the program that you went through and what you hope to accomplish with that.
So when I was getting my master's, in my head, I wanted to work in a prison. So that's why I wanted to get my master's, because that's the field I wanted to go into. And it was, even though it was difficult at that time, I remember staying up and writing my papers and not going to sleep till 2 a.m. because I had to put my babies to sleep, or I had 2 kids at that time. I had to put my babies to sleep and then still stay up all night long and do my papers, then wake up at 8 o'clock the next morning and get everybody for Head Start or whatever school, and me get to work. And looking back, I'm like, how was that not hard? But I just did it, and it just seemed easy, and I just did it. And I don't know how it seemed so easy, but I feel like maybe it just happened because that's the way God meant it to happen, and it just didn't seem like a piece of cake.
Wow. Well, that's incredible, because I know when you have kids, it just getting your master's is difficult in and of itself. I mean, you're taking classes, you're doing all these things, so that in and of itself can be tough. But when you add having children on top of that, it just makes it, takes it to a whole other level. And so that's really, really cool that you see it that way, and that you were able to accomplish that goal, and feeling that it was just sort of a breeze. That's awesome. So what are your aspirations? What do you hope to do?
So I go back to school. I took in my LSAT one time. I have to retake it another time to get the score I want to get. And then, so after taking my LSAT score, I need to write my letter for law school and get 3 letters of recommendation, which I already have the 3 people to write me those letters. I just need to do my LSAT and write my letter, and then apply to law school. So that's the next step. And I would like to go to law school in Wyoming.
Awesome. And so what do you want to do with your law degree? What kind of law are you interested in working in?
So I'm interested in working immigration law, and I think part of it is because I grew up in San Luis, where, you know, you grow up in this little small town and everybody knows everybody. And then when I was about 17, I met my husband, and he lives in Center, which is on the other side of the valley, Saguache County. And in Center, I would say a huge majority of the population is undocumented. And I've had neighbors who come and they, you know, ask me like, hey, Sierra, will you help me read these letters? Because I don't understand what they say. And I am so grateful that when I was like 4 years old, my grandma, you know, they taught me Spanish first because my grandpa didn't know English. And so when I was like 7, I taught myself how to read it. My grandma would buy me little books and I would teach myself how to read it. And she taught me the alphabet. And she taught me how to write it. And so it came in handy because now that I, you know, like am in contact with some people who just don't know how to read English or speak English or whatever, you know, when they help me, I help them. And I'm just like I have a goddaughter and her dad's undocumented, and he's going through all his immigration stuff, and in my head, never did I think that it's so expensive and so difficult, and so like the things that people have to go through just to become a citizen is very difficult. And so I think it's a lot that us who are citizens take for granted because we live in a world thinking that, oh, why don't people just come here and become legal? But it's not that simple. It's so expensive and it's so hard. And the reasons that they leave, if I was in that situation, I would be leaving that same way also. And I just want to like be a resource for people and be in a position of power to where I can help people in a different way than just helping them read letters or like write stuff or whatever. And my ultimate goal is to actually have like an immigration resource center, and I want it to be a place where people could come and they could like have paperwork translated for them, or maybe take some classes to learn English that are free, or have pro bono representation so they don't have to pay for an attorney, or somehow have like waivers or assistance so they could file their paperwork and it not be such a hardship, because it is so expensive and it's not cheap, and it isn't something that's easy. It's very difficult. So
well, that's amazing. I wish you the best of luck and hope that you are able to do all of those things, because yeah, you're absolutely right. There's definitely it's a long process, a difficult process, and I'm sure they would just appreciate all the help that you're offering. So that's really awesome for you. So, ¿hablas español perfectamente?
No perfectamente, pero poco.
Poco, okay. San Luisian Spanish, right?
Yeah, there you go. It's crazy though, when I speak Spanish, people ask me, ¿de dónde eres? And I'm like, from Colorado. And they're like, well, what country? Like, they think I'm from a different country. And I'm like, no.
Awesome.
And let me tell you guys, so just so you know, for everybody that grew up in the valley, when you ask somebody about their calzones, you're asking them about their underwear, not their pants. And so I had a birthday by working at Maurice's one time. When I asked a lady what size of pants she wore, I asked her ¿qué talla de calzones usas? And she was like, what are you talking about? Well, I was asking her about wear, not her pants.
Yeah, we've had similar experiences where somebody asked my mom where the rastrillos were, and she was at Ross, and my mom looked at him really weird, and she's like, I don't think you can find rastrillos here. You'll have to go to Home Depot. And he was looking for a razor, and for us it's a rake, so yeah. Lots of different words, and yeah, anyway. But yeah, it's been a pleasure talking with you, and thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview with me. And again, I wish you the best of luck, and go get that JD girl. We need more of you out there in the law field for sure, so especially bilingual women from the Valley. So go get it. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you everybody for watching. This has been a La Gente Legacy production and successful in the SLV. Stay tuned for more.